We've been talking about Amazon. We've been talking about big business jumping into smaller cities, creating lift, and then of course this last mile infrastructure in the case of Amazon. And Greg, you laid the foundation on last mile infrastructure. Let's keep running on that topic because I feel like it's an important one.
Yeah, it's really exciting actually when you think about. So where we left off was this concept of having things delivered like practically real time, and how now you've got Alexa or other devices in your home. They're talking about smart refrigerators. I mean, right now today I've started using Alexa over the last couple of weeks. I haven't pulled the trigger yet, but when I'm out of ketchup, I say, "Hey Alexa, I'm out of ketchup," and she says, "I'll add it to your shopping list." And I said, "Ooh, that's interesting, right?" So then, hey, we're out of this, we're out of that. Hey, Alexa, my wife and daughter are fighting over the charger for the iPhones again. Order me 2 more chargers. I'll put it on your shopping list. Okay, here we go. So now I'm verbalizing things and Alexa's putting on my shopping list. I now have to go there and turn something on that will actually turn my verbal instructions into orders, but it's all moving down that path. They're starting to build homes that have like delivery doors where delivery people can safely put expensive goods into the delivery doors and then it self-locks. They've got things where you can give, they're moving towards a code for the trunk of your car where they can deliver things to the trunk of the car. There's a lot of things that are happening very rapidly where in, I don't know, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, you're just not going to go to stores the way you used to. And there are people who are saying that convenience stores are over, that,
Yep,
7-Eleven's out of business. They just don't know it yet. And here's the thing about last mile is that for a lot of products, like they can store the iPhone charger anywhere and then get it to me and, next day, same day, whatever. But if they want to get things to everybody within an hour, they have to have the stuff close by. Okay, so it has to be as close by as a retail store is, right? Especially if you get into perishables, food, produce, milk, eggs, whatever. So when it goes to that level where there are things that really need to be within 5 or 10 or 20 miles of your house, and the retail stores are going to be devalued, meaning one by one, retailers are going out of business. There are entire categories that may not come back. Like you may not go to toy stores and buy toys anymore. Like you might go to Walmart and do it, but Toys R Us is gone. And there's not going to be another major big box toy retailer taking its place because there just isn't going to be, right? There's no reason
There's no
for
point.
it.
Right.
There is no
Go to
point.
Amazon.
The new way,
Right.
the new way we're heading to the holidays. I bought Christmas presents for like 14 nieces and nephews and kids and brothers and sisters last year. I did it all on Amazon. That means I went through all the trouble of putting in their home addresses and everything else. And now it's going to take me an hour to shop for 20 people, like literally. So,
Right.
but back to this idea that, okay, so there are big box retailers that are going to close and there's no need for them to reopen. What happens to the real estate? Do they tear it down, or does that become a store that you just don't go into? The only people that go into them is delivery people. So when you order things, now what might have been a Toys R Us in the past now becomes a localized distribution center for the likes of Amazon. So when you order things, they may have in that old Toys R Us, they may have all the electronic equipment, all the kind of things, and a lot books, toys, whatever, but they also might have the refrigerated items, right? So that when you order something and the delivery person goes to pick that up, or, listen, 10 years out, it's going to be the delivery bot, the
Yes,
driverless
that's right.
car that's going to bring it, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's really going there. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I think in terms of 10 and 20 and 30-year cycles anyway, you know me about that. So to me, 10 years is around the corner, right? 10 years ago, it seems like it just happened for me. So you look at retail real estate. I'm all about single-family homes, but I also love talking about other things. When you look up and down the main street of your town, not the quaint one where people are always going to go because it's quaint, but the one that's not so quaint, that's got rectangular buildings that are not necessarily going to have a purpose in the future, those buildings are going to go vacant, some of them. They're going to stay vacant. They're going to be much, much more affordable, much devalued. And you're going to find that those last mile delivery and distribution and logistics companies are going to take over that real estate for one reason, not because it needs to be visible. It doesn't have to have a sign on Broadway anymore, but it has to be in town in order to get to you inside of an hour. Does that make sense?
So I'm a huge fan of these like talking refrigerators, right? Like I'm really excited for the day when refrigerators have more capable intelligence. They have intelligence now, but the more capable intelligence to tell me, hey, your milk is set to expire in 2 days or 3 days. We've already ordered you new milk.
Better yet, you don't have this problem, but the kind that I'm going to have is going to say, hey, Tubby, you're going to put grated cheese on that too?
Right, exactly. You're going to have your own like diet trainer being your fridge, and it will lock during certain times. Like it's going to be hilarious.
You can choose celebrity voices. Like I want Joe Pesci to call me fat and tell me to put down the grated cheese. Like how about some broccoli?
Yeah, so I'm really excited for that. But I mean, that first of all, you're a great impressionist, and secondly, I think it's happening. It's already happening. I was in Vegas just a couple of weeks ago for a conference, and a driverless Uber picked me up.
Really?
Yep. It was freaky, but at the same time, it was awesome. I'm like, hey, this is really happening. This is incredible.
Now, did you ask the car, did you say, so how long have you been a driverless Uber? Well, I used to be a teacher, but then I decided to move to Vegas. I mean, does it have that whole conversational component
it
built
doesn't
in
have, no, it didn't have the whole conversational component, but I wonder what it would have said. Right? Like, no, I used to be a teacher, and then I decided to download my brain into this car.
I used to be a snowblower, and then I got an upgrade, and now I'm a driverless bot in front of a... I don't know.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But is this a comedy show? I don't think it's supposed to be. I guess.
Right. But I think, listen, at the end of the day, technology is changing the way that we live. And if we ignore this fact, we are absolutely ignoring the investment opportunities in real estate that are associated with it.
Well, that's it. And that's, we've talked about Huntsville, Alabama, because the auto industry has moved in. We've talked about, well, we haven't talked about Spartanburg, South Carolina, that has a big BMW facility there. Mm-hmm. BMW just announced this week they're adding another 750 jobs or something like that. Like, following the corporate investment is always a really interesting thing to watch because you can do unique research, right? Like, you can do personal research. You watch certain companies, you pay attention. Business journals are a great place to go because they're always going to be cheerleaders for anything good happening in the market, but doesn't make them a bad place to go to find out what's coming down the pike. So you find out that some site selection people from a certain company came in, that a town is in the process of selection by some large company. You then show up at planning board meetings where that company is going to come in and make presentations about how they want to build their new warehouse facility. There are changes that take place that if you start getting a feel for, okay, stand way back, think about population trends, because if you're investing in housing in particular, you're investing in the shelter over people. So it's very straightforward. If people are coming and people are staying and they're getting jobs there, if the reasons why they're coming, staying, and getting paid are going to continue for decades into the future, i.e. a company is opening up a facility and taking a 99-year lease on their land, right? Mm-hmm. Like that kind of stuff. When those commitments take place, that's an opportunity for you to follow the money in and place some bets.